Did you know that the first child born through gestational surrogacy was born in 1986? My name is Jessica Linville, and I'm embarking on a life-changing journey. One of the greatest gifts modern medicine has given us is surrogacy. I'm currently in the process of becoming a surrogate mother for an amazing couple who is unable to have children on their own. I have quite a few friends who have become surrogates, and I'm thankful to have their guidance through this journey over the next 9 months. First, I'll be discussing the process on how I became a surrogate. Second, I'll discuss the different types of surrogacy. Third, I will explain the medical procedures leading into in vitro fertilization. And fourth, I will discuss why I became a surrogate and the emotional attachments of being a surrogate mother. So the process of becoming a surrogate. First, you need to decide if you are going to go through an agency or pursue your journey independently. The reason I wanted to go independent was because I didn't want my intended parents or IPs to be spending additional money having an agency match us or set appointments for us when those were things I could do on our own. Next step is to match. I found my IPs on an online surrogacy forum. I created a profile on the site with some background on myself, my family, with some photos, and read through the different profiles. I decided on a couple who lived a few hours from me, and I sent them an email on the site after reading their story. Their story really touched me. They had tried getting pregnant on their own, and they had failed after discovering baseball-sized fibroids in her uterus, and they had to remove those through surgery. They tried using a surrogate 2 years ago, however, they miscarried a set of twin girls at 16 weeks. So they were hopeful, they were optimistic, and they were ready to try again. And my IPs responded to my email, and we emailed back and forth for a few weeks, getting to know one another, and we officially decided to move forward. After matching, we made a doctor appointment with their reproductive endocrinologist, which is an RE. We did blood work and exams to make sure that I'm a good candidate for surrogacy. After we got the all clear from the RE, we met with a psychologist to make sure both parties are mentally capable of successfully pursuing a surrogacy, and that my IPs and I understood what we are getting into and that the risks that were involved. Once these psych exams are complete, we met with both of our attorneys to draw up a contract. This contract outlines the rights of both parties, financial obligations from start to finish, who has legal custody of the child after birth, how many embryos that are going to be transferred, and other important factors such as what type of contact the surrogate will have with the family after birth. After both parties sign the contract, we are ready to move forward and start medications. Now that I've discussed how I became a surrogate, I will discuss the different types of surrogacy. There are two types of surrogacy. In traditional surrogacy, the surrogate mother is artificially inseminated with the biological father's sperm. The biological father can either be the father who intends to raise the child or an anonymous sperm donor. The surrogate mother in this case is the baby's biological mother. In gestational surrogacy, on the other hand, the eggs are from the prospective mother and the sperm of the prospective father are fertilized outside the body before being placed into the uterus of the surrogate mother. The surrogate mother is not genetically tied to the baby. I am going to be a gestational surrogate and will have no genetic relation to the child that will be born. Now that I've explained two types of surrogacy, I will discuss the medical process leading up to in vitro fertilization. Timing is everything. With IVF, appointments are scheduled on specific days of my menstrual cycle to see exactly what my body is doing on that particular day. My first appointment, we did blood work and a saline sonogram, and that's where they inject saline into the uterus, and it outlines it and allows you to have easy visualization and measurement, and identifies any polyps or masses within the uterus. After that, we did a mock transfer, and it allows the doctor to determine the best route to the ideal embryo landing place in your uterus, and they measure the length of the cervix to that ideal place and make sure there are no unexpected road bumps like fibroids, scar tissue on the cervix, or any other problems that might make the transfer difficult. Once it was determined that my uterus is a good candidate for surrogacy, we can prepare it for pregnancy. Before an embryo can be transferred, the endometrial lining and cavity must be prepared so that an embryo can implant properly. Different clinics do have different med protocols, so the experiences may vary. On day 3 of my menstrual cycle, I did start taking a prenatal vitamin and also a baby aspirin. Baby aspirin helps with the blood flow to the uterus. I also take 2 milligrams of estrogen 3 times a day orally to help thicken the lining of my uterus. After 24 days on meds and about 2 weeks before transfer, you have a lining check to see if your lining is thick enough. Mine was 5.4 millimeters and it needs to be 7 millimeters for an embryo transfer. So the doctor adjusted my meds and did add another 2 milligrams of estrogen vaginally to my daily meds. A week before the transfer, I will inject 50 milligrams of progesterone with a vial and needle into my hip and also a vaginal progesterone suppository each night until the transfer. On transfer day, which is set for August 4th, we will be only transferring one embryo that is grown for 5 days. During the transfer, the doctor will insert the catheter, load the embryo, and push the embryo through the uterus with a small puff of air. The procedure is guided on the screen with the sonogram, and once the transfer is done, the doctor will slowly remove the catheter and check it to make sure that the embryo was released. I'll lay there for about 20 minutes and then I'll go home. We will have the 2-week wait until it's time for the pregnancy test. And if the transfer is successful, I will continue doing the progesterone shots until week 10 of pregnancy and then be released to a regular OBGYN. If the transfer is unsuccessful, we will adjust my medications and we will go ahead and try again. The goal is to have a healthy baby and a healthy pregnancy. So now that the medical process of IVF was explained, I will talk about why I became a surrogate and the emotional aspects of becoming a surrogate. The reason why I became a surrogate is because I've seen the struggle of many friends firsthand as they battle infertility. They have the constant letdown each month when the pregnancy test says negative, or the financial hardships they've encountered just to try and get pregnant, remain pregnant, and to have a healthy child. I knew that there were people out there who had been waiting for what feels like a lifetime to start or complete their family, and I knew that I wouldn't fully understand the struggles that they've experienced, and nothing I could say could make their hurt go away. But I knew what I could do was be a vessel and a tool to help them make their dreams of parenthood come true. Everybody deserves the opportunity to be a parent, and I would love nothing more than to help, even if that makes me the walking incubator. Naturally, a surrogate does form a bond and creates an emotional attachment, but the bond is more towards the parents and the fact that you're creating a family. We will be having regular sessions with our psychologist to help us mentally and emotionally through the entire process. You become very close to your IPs and you know the most intimate details about each other's lives. They are very involved in every aspect of the pregnancy, and I know from the very beginning that I'm not doing this to have a child of my own. My family is complete. My job through this surrogacy is to help someone else create their family. This child could not have better parents or be more loved, and it isn't even here yet. And I'm already dreaming of the day when I can hand that little miracle over and see the look in their eyes and the tears of joy in their face, knowing that something that they've been dreaming about for so long is finally here. I know that the child created from this journey would otherwise not be created if it weren't for me. And this journey will be one of my greatest accomplishments. One of the greatest gifts modern medicine has given us is surrogacy. Today I've discussed the process of becoming a surrogate. Second, I explained the different types of surrogacy. Third, I explained the medical processes leading up to IVF. And finally, the reason why I became a surrogate and the emotional aspect of surrogacy. So when you think of surrogacy, know that it doesn't matter how the children get to the parents, just that they do.